And welcome to another episode of Live 605. Yes, confusion reigns supreme, and that's the way I like it. I also like it, if you haven't subscribed to this live stream or this channel, to do so now, please. It would mean the world to me. So just subscribe and hit the little bell thing. You've done this before. I know you're YouTube aficionados by now, and I would really appreciate it. Why? Because it just lets you know when I'm on. It also lets you know if you need to avoid YouTube while we're on. I'm doing this for humanitarian purposes. Well, humanitarian purposes indeed. We're back to the old location, which is really kind of where we really should be. I took a break from this location because we're doing things out the back in Studio B. We're now back in Studio A, and I'm delighted to say that we're back in Studio A because I actually kind of prefer it here in many ways. I feel like I have come home. Yes, we've had a Easter break, a well-deserved one, I felt. It was a bit full on there for a while. So I hope all of you have had a restful Easter or Sabbath or whatever it is that you're celebrating. We also commemorated Anzac Day on the weekend, and it was a very solemn time indeed. One of my favourite times of the year, I have to say. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below. If you have any comments, again, knock yourself out. Speaking of knocking yourself out, I've been knocked out many, many times by this question and or problem and or quandary, and that is that people have contacted us, and it's not because we're the particular distributors of a brand which shall remain nameless, but people that have had problems even with brands that we don't carry, telling us that their safety razor, their three-piece, usually a three-piece safety razor, has been threaded. There's something wrong with their razor. My God, what's going on? Why is my razor not working? Why is there a failure? Why is it that I've looked after this razor, I've cleaned it properly, I've done all the things that I need to do, and the thing's just wrecked. It won't hold the razor, the cap, the top cap on it. It won't even support the base plate anymore. It's now dangerous. It has now become officially a weapon, and it will cause problems if I use it. Now, there are a number of things that I need to say. First and foremost, this is not bashing a particular brand because it happens to all brands across the board. And so the things that I want to discuss today is why something like this might happen. Secondly, the fact that sooner or later, it's kind of bound to happen. And thirdly, what we can do about it. Look at the solutions that we can bring to the table and see how we can take care and look after and maintain these things, which are very, very important, particularly to myself because I use it on my head as well as me. So what I've done, I have bought in one of my own personal razors from home. Now, this is a razor fairly common. It's one that's made in Germany. It's made by Müller. We don't carry Müller, so this is why I thought I'd bring it in, because I want to demonstrate to you that I'm not using, there's no trickery, or I'm not a charlatan of any kind by just showing you exactly what's going on here. I've had this razor for about 10 years, right? That is the state of the razor. Have a look at that, right? I have used it a lot. Admittedly, I haven't used it much over the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months to 8 months. I pull it out every once in a while because I like to rotate my razors. But I have bought this because it is a great place to start. Sometimes we neglect the things that help us, that we sort of, not that we take them for granted, but they're just part of our everyday routine. And we think that because they're part of our everyday routine, we can just sort of gloss over these things. And, it's a razor, so what, I paid 50, 60 bucks for it, whatever. If it malfunctions, I'll buy another one. No, that's not what it's about. Please, and I say this to everyone that purchases a new razor, please look after it. Please make sure you clean it properly and that you follow just a few very, very simple guidelines. Firstly, Because we're using this with water, people think that just by rinsing it under a tap once you've finished your shave, you've cleaned it. I would suggest that you've just rinsed it. It's a rinsing rather than a cleaning that's gone on there. You've removed all the lather or the whiskers that are things that are stuck in there, and you've just given it a very, a rinse. And rinsing is not cleaning. Rinsing is what happens after you clean your razors. And my razors, and I'm guilty as charged, can look pretty ordinary after, a few weeks of use, maybe 10, 12 weeks of use. And that is because the soaps and the creams on the market today are rich in butters, they're rich in oils and fats. A lot of them are super fatted. They're really, really, really rich. And what happens with oils, fats and butters, is that when they are heated, when they're subjected to some heat, they kind of like emulsify, break down, or become more fluid. And then when they start to return back to room temperature, they will then return to their natural state, which is a semi-solid. Now, if product is not cleaned from this razor and it returns to its natural state, which is a semi-solid product, cream, soap, a scum will develop. Some soaps produce more scum than others. Some will leave scum in the sink, and you can see that if you shave, with a particular soap and you don't wipe it down, you'll notice that there is a chalky residue. This residue also resides on your razor and your brush, incidentally. Okay, but we're talking about razors today. So what happens is that with frequent use, you unscrew the razor, you put in your blade, screw it back on, off, on, off. If you haven't cleaned the thread, then you're likely to thread the razor. It may not happen, and there are a number of factors. It depends on your soap, it depends on how often you change out your razor, it depends on your water, whether it's hard water or soft. Believe it or not, these are the things that will affect how quickly and the nature of the soap scum developing on your razor will be. So there are lots and lots of variables, okay? If you're somebody that shaves once a week, then you're less likely to be opening and, it's mathematics. You unscrew the razor, you screw it back together again, unscrew it, screw it back together. The more you do that, the higher the chances of you possibly threading it. The thing that will absolutely mean you'll thread this razor is if you don't clean it. That's one of the things that results in the threading of razors. Also rushing and all these other things. So what do you do? Well, after I shave, I just like to loosen it a little bit and give it a good rinse out. And that generally helps. And that will ensure that all of the larger materials like the whiskers and the soap, the stuff that's fairly obvious, is washed away. But remember, these things contain oils and butters, particularly with some of these artisan soaps these days. They are very, very rich. So you're going to have rich residue. I mean, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So my suggestion would be to take an old toothbrush and just give the thread just a little bit of a massage, right? Lightly, okay? Just do it lightly and under warm water and give it a good clean. I also like to get in the little, you'll see in those little threads there, like to get in between there as well, with a cotton bud or whatever, and just try and remove as much soap scum as possible. But there is a very, very good way and an almost, I would say, an essential part of one's cleaning regime, and that is to invest, if you can, and if you're serious about this, and I use it for not only just for my razors, you'll see in a minute, but I use it for all sorts of things that require cleaning, that require sort of a deep cleaning, and that is an ultrasonic cleaner. Now, they are thankfully coming down in price. Interestingly, it's one of the few things that's come down in price. They used to be hundreds of dollars. You can now pick them up for anywhere from $40 to $50. And they are really, really good when it comes to cleaning a razor. Now, what I've done, here's a little bit of footage that I prepared earlier. I took this razor and gave it a bit of a clean because it was in need of some cleaning. And this is what we what we will bring to you now. So, and I'll talk you through this, and I'll talk you exactly what's going on. So we pull the razor apart. You'll see this is fairly typical. There's a little bit of soap scum there on the top cap and on the base plate as well. What you do is you fill it with warm water. Please don't put in hot water because what our ultrasonic works with, the transducer in the bottom of the unit will actually produce these sound waves which create a very, very interesting phenomenon. We'll talk about that in a moment. Put them in the basket and just have them in there, and you'll see immediately that there's material coming off that thread. I don't know if you saw that. It's sort of clouded over now, and it immediately released some soap. What I like to do is put in a little bit of detergent. Here I'm using our brush cleaner because brush cleaner is great in removing soap scum. And then I just let it go for run its cycle. I run a 7-minute cycle and then I repeat the process. So 7 minutes, take it out, use the brush to dislodge any material. So 7 minutes later, there it is. I take this out, take out the basket, and make sure that I give them a good wipe down, take the brush and just work over the thread. And this will bring it up beautifully. Now, this is a 10-year-old razor. Okay, let me see if I can bring it up. Yep, we'll stop right there. And you'll see that's what a 10-year-old razor looks like if you've been cleaning it with one of these ultrasonic cleaners, which incidentally, as I said, go anywhere from, you can pick them up for 30, 40, 50. I know one of the large chains brings one out every six months or so here in Australia, and they don't last long. As soon as they hit the shelves, they're gone. They're about $40 from memory, but you can pick one up for $70. I've seen them for $100. I've seen them for, anything sort of north of $150 means that you're getting something that's a little bit more professional. It's something that jewelry shops are likely to use because jewelers love these as well. But there's that still image of the thread, okay? No tricks, no trick photography. I just thought I would share that with you and show you exactly what's going on. And that's this razor here. So you can use it without any detergent. And if you are going to use a detergent, you don't have to use our brush cleaner. It'd be nice if you did. But if you don't have to, make sure you use just a sort of a dishwashing liquid, mild dishwashing liquid. Dr. Bronner's is really good. Castile soap, that liquid soap, it's really, really good stuff. And nothing that sort of smells like like berries of the forest, or I find those ones that are overpowering have other things in them as well. I try and just keep it as flat and as scentless as possible, and that will really bring up your razors and your jewelry. So that's what I do. I don't change the water. I just do 7 minutes. Take the basket out, give it a bit of a once over with the old bamboo toothbrush or any toothbrush you've got lying around. Please don't use the one that you use to brush your teeth. And then just give it a light massage. Make sure you dislodge anything like that, and then you're good to go. One thing I will say, please don't try and use a cotton bud or anything to get in there and try and clean that thread out. If there's anything in there, this is like cleaning your ears. If you put a cotton bud in there and you start working away, if there's any material there, any wax, whatever it is, you're going to push it further in. This could also, might not, but it could also happen with your handles, your razor handles. So please, if you can, I think it'd be great. I mean, these ultrasonic cleaners are fantastic. They're great for cleaning coins, jewelry, watches, you name it, the whole lot. And of course, razors. Try and avoid any abrasive. I know that some companies that sell these particular ultrasonic cleaners will want to sell a solution as well, meaning a sort of a chemical. A lot of those are ammonia-based. Be careful of those sorts of things because remember, these are just brass and they're coated with chrome. You don't want to go messing around with the coating of your razor. So that's why I like to use something that's very mild, but that works. How these things work, we're not really going to get into a science lesson, but generally what happens is there's a lot of agitation which creates, and through the transducer in the bottom of the unit. And please always use a basket. Don't just chuck them in there because you can actually damage the bottom of the ultrasonic bath. produces very, very, very microscopic bubbles, right? And these bubbles, the production of these bubbles is called cavitation. It's a technical term. And when they come into contact with another surface, they implode with such force that they dislodge any material, and sometimes, rust even, oils, fats, dirt. They dislodge that from your jewelry, or from, in this case, your razors. So it's a fascinating process. They use it to clean engine parts and all sorts of things. It's really because, in fact, I remember seeing you can buy a unit that you can put into a sink and clean your vegetables with it. Yeah, like you just throw your veggies in there and off you go. Don't put vegetables in one of these ultrasonic baths. That one's got a probe, right? The ones that are baths, you really should try and avoid putting organic material in them. Just use or sort of things that are likely to mess with the coating of the actual ultrasonic bath. And that's it. That's it. Now, how often do I do it? It's kind of like how long's a piece of string. If I've got really, really scummy looking razors, then I'll do them more frequently. Generally, I don't allow them to do that. Another thing that helps me not to do that is I sort of rotate through my razors, as I'm sure those of you that are watching do as well. And so there's no, there's no fixed time. But if you're unscrewing the razor and you feel that it's kind of, it's not happening as smoothly as it should, it's probably time to give it a clean. It's probably time to give it a bit of a massage. And that's it. That's really it. These things are designed to last. Now, why does it occur? Let me tell you. I've told you how you fix it. Why does it occur? Generally speaking, these are made of an alloy, and the alloy is softer than the handle. You can get stainless steel handles. You can get all sorts of beautiful handles. And the problem doesn't reside here. It normally resides there. And a lot of these razors, be it Mueller, Edwin Jager, whatever it is, Pakistani or Chinese razor, any of those, this is the weak point, and this is likely to snap. And it snaps because they're made of Zamac or an alloy, which is very, very soft. They're not that durable. So you've really got to take care with them, right? And I've made a point of telling customers and letting customers know that it's just a good idea to keep them clean. And I know that we live very, very busy lives, and, only a geek would spend time cleaning the thing. But let me tell you, this geek here, me, moi, has had this razor, as I said, it's an R89 Mueller, had this for about 10 years, and it is as good as new. I just like keeping them clean. That's my dysfunction. Anyway, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, let's do a quick product spotlight, and we'll get out of your face. Yes, product spotlight. Well, surprise, surprise. I'm going to talk about this. Shameless plug. It is the, if I can get it into focus here, it is the, I'll get my face out of the way and put that, there it is. It is our brush cleaner. It's not only used for brush cleaning, it's also great for, as I said, removing soap scum. All natural. We're selling these for $12. I like them. They defunkify brushes as well. If you're a fan of bore brushes, bit of this when you first buy it, the wet dog smell will be gone in half the time. If it takes you 15 shaves to get rid of the dog smell, with this one, it'll take you, 7.5 shaves. Some mathematics for you. All natural, nice sort of minty smell, peppermint smell. There's tea tree oil in there, which means it has sort of antibacterial qualities. And I think even using antibacterials in cleaning your razors is actually a good idea as well. We're chuffed. We love the product. It's very popular. That's it. I will not speak any more about this product. I told you about it though. Product spotlight. Yes, well, it's great to be back at the old time slot. I think we'll probably have to stick here now. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and stay here after work. The shop's closed, and we'll just do our thing because it's a little more comfortable here, I have to say. But I'm not going back to those other platforms. I'm going to stay in this platform right here. And if you're watching this on replay or repeat or whatever, thank you. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe and hit the subscribe bell so you can be warned, so you can take cover, or perhaps even join us. Until next time, stay safe.